Hello everyone, it is Game Day. Welcome back to another video and welcome to a little bit, not rushed video, but certainly a video that I did not expect to be making today. It's one that could not wait for the Rugby League show, which came out yesterday, the latest episode of the Rugby League show, so check that out after you've watched this video. But the big news coming out of Rugby League before Warrington play Leeds tonight is that Huddersfield Giants have parted company with head coach Ian Watson. Yes, to repeat that, Ian Watson has left the Huddersfield Giants. He has been sacked. It has been coming, and we know that's been coming. So, yeah, that is the news. Let's look into that now. Yes, as I say, Ian Watson has left the Huddersfield Giants. Disappointing season they've had. Currently sat in 8th spot. And they've got to the stage now in the season where a playoff place really does look unlikely. I'm looking at the table now. They are 8 points off. Some will say, it's just a little run of wins together. But when you've been on the run that Huddersfield have been on, they'll be happy to get 4 wins for the rest of the season. They might get 4 wins in a row just to draw level with the playoffs. They're not getting in there. And it's another year where failure is a strong word. But when you look at the Giants, failure seems to be the only word that comes forward. Of course, Ian Watson, a head coach that I'm quite familiar with, who was at Salford Red Devils, of course, got them to the 2019 Grand Final and the 2020 Challenge Cup Final. Yes, he lost them both, but the fact that he managed to get Salford there in the first place with the limitations that he had there at the Red Devils is really impressive. He got the best out of so many players. Obviously Ken Seo played really well under him. Jackson Hastings, Tui Lolohea, many others as well. So, he did a fantastic job and deserved to go to a higher team, theoretically, I suppose. Higher in terms of budget, definitely. Not necessarily in terms of league position, though. So, Ian Watson leaves the Huddersfield Giants with a record of 90 games, 43 wins, 1 draw, and 36 losses. It's 48% win percentage. It's not too bad. He had 49% win percentage at the Salford Red Devils, so that was in 164 games. So overall, it's not too bad, but it's one good season in there that really does help that. In the 2021 season, his first season, Huddersfield came 9th in the table. 2022 is where Huddersfield peaked, to be honest. They got to the Challenge Cup final, played at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where they lost agonisingly in the last minute to a Liam Marshall try, and that almost seems to be the turning point in their season. In the 2022 season, they did do really well in Super League. They came third. They were only 3 points off the top 2. They were a comfy third as well. I remember watching them. They were a good side, that Huddersfield side. Chris McQueen was their top try scorer. Tui Lolohea with 29 try assists. So, they were playing really well. Will Price, who's of course now in the NRL as well, kicking plenty of goals for them. And it was a good year. They got into the playoffs. They got to the Challenge Cup final. The big turning point, if it wasn't that Challenge Cup final, has to be in the playoff eliminators. A game I remember very fondly as a Salford fan. Finished Huddersfield Giants 0, Salford Red Devils 28. Salford were amazing on that day, and Huddersfield were just disappointing. I remember that game vividly, and just being, surprised, first of all, how Huddersfield played, and just being disappointed. They played so well in the regular league season, and to go out without a fight, really. I mean, I look at Salford in the playoffs, and we got eliminated by St Helens, but we gave it a go. Good fight. It was 1912. I look at Catalan in them playoffs. It was 2010. Wigan sort of went out of it a whimper to Leeds Rhinos, who gave it a go in the grand final. St Helens won the whole thing. But Huddersfield, they were disappointing, particularly as the third place team at home to a 6th place side. And to be honest, they just never recovered from that, did the Huddersfield Giants. They couldn't repeat the tricks in the Challenge Cup and in the league in 2023. They came a disappointing 9th, 6 points off of the playoffs. From memory, they did flirt with the playoffs briefly for a little while, just sort of on the outside of it, but never really made a good enough charge at it. They were 3 wins off, quite a large negative, 79 points difference, so it wasn't the best of seasons then. And you get to this season, once again, Ian Watson was a good head coach, by the way, and I'm sure he'll be getting another job, possibly even in Super League, who knows. Depends what jobs become available, of course. But coming into this season, with the squad they've got, certainly, I mean, obviously it's a cost cap sport, but when you look at the money they've spent, it's certainly one of the higher budgets. When you think of teams above them in the league, I keep going back to the Salford Red Devils, but they keep outperforming it. But you even think a team like Hull KR might even have a smaller budget than Huddersfield Giants. They currently find themselves in 8th, as I say. They're 8 points off of the playoffs. They're not getting playoffs, we already know that. They did have a good run in the Challenge Cup, getting to the semi-finals. They were absolutely battered. I think it was 46-4. I've got it on here. 46-10, sorry. 46-10 in the Challenge Cup semi-final to Warrington. They're absolutely battered. And it's actually Warrington who's done the most damage. Knocked them out of the cup. And it is a 48-0 loss at Warrington in the league that has spelled the end for Ian Watson. And it has been coming, as I say. I'm not surprised that he's lost his job. Yes, Warrington are having a good year, but to lose 48-0 against a team that, if you want to get in the playoffs, you need to be putting in, you need to be winning, you need to be putting in a better performance than that, and they just haven't done it. At the start of the season, I thought they were going to get in the playoffs after the first few games. You know, maybe I jumped the gun a bit too early, but some of the early stuff they were doing was fantastic. I mean, I'm looking at their squad now. Jake Connor's just someone who's just not worked out at the Huddersfield Giants. It's not worked out for both parties. There's clearly a player in there, but we're not seeing the best of Jake Connor. On the wing, Adam Swift started the season like a house on fire. He was fantastic. He's sort of slowed down a little bit. In the centres, I mean, it's just pure quality in the centres. Ethan Masters, who I rate highly as a player, and that's not just because he's going to Salford next year. He is a quality player alongside Kevin Nakama, who is, I mean, he's been man of the matches in grand finals before with St Helens, so he's been there, done it. People like Tui Lolahea, Chris Hill and Milner, these are all great players. The captain, Luke Yates, their squad is good. Their squad should be challenging for the playoffs, should be putting up a better fight than what they have done so far. And they just haven't, and that's why Ian Watson's gone. As for the rest of the season, well, I mean, you look at Leeds Rhinos, they brought in Brad Arthur, only up to the end of the season as the interim coach. I guess Huddersfield will do a similar thing, not someone of Brad Arthur's capability, but they'll bring someone in, probably internally, for the rest of the season, and a bit like Hull FC, will appoint someone for the start of 2025, and there seems to be a few clubs that are going to be having a rebuild in 2025. We know Hull FC are well in a rebuild, doing transfers, basically becoming Leigh Leopard's B team at the minute, all the players that they're signing. Leeds will have some sort of rebuild in the summer, not necessarily in terms of the players, but they're going to have a new head coach, whether that is Brad Arthur, whether that's Paul Rowley, whether it's Steve McNamara, whether it's someone else from the world of Rugby League. And now you're looking at the Huddersfield Giants side, who are going to need some rebuild. They've got great players in there, they've got players that are ageing a bit, they've got a few players that are coming through, but it's going to be some rebuild for the Huddersfield Giants. I'm just getting their previous results up now, and it's not good reading. They beat Hull FC, no offence to Hull FC, but is that really that much of an achievement? But that's the only win they've had since they went to Headingley and won. And the turning point this season is St Helens. They went to Catalan Challenge Cup and battered them. They went to Hull FC, stuck 50 past them. They went to Headingley, put in their best performance of the season. I remember watching that game. It's one of the games of the season. They then went to St Helens, went 12-0 up, and lost due to a late Johnny Lomax drop goal. And since then, they've only beaten Hull FC. It's been downwards spiral for the Giants. Next game's Leigh Leopards, then it's Salford, then it's Leeds. I mean, that's 3 winnable games there. Salford and Leeds are home games. They're away to Leigh this Saturday. So that's 3 games that they could win. As I say, they're not going to get the playoffs, but for Huddersfield now, it's all about the rebuild. There's great potential there at Huddersfield. Enormous stadium. Do they get the crowds that they could? I mean, as a Salford fan, I can't ever go at crowds, I know, but they could certainly increase the crowds. But how do you get more people in the gates? By playing good rugby, by getting the results, and by being in the playoffs. It's as simple as that. And as I say, they've got the squad. I'm sure they'll be backed. And so it's an interesting proposition. It will be a project. There's a lot of projects going on in a minute in Rugby League. Huddersfield's another one of them. It's certainly be an interesting project, and I'll be interested to see who goes in there. But yeah, that is my thoughts on Huddersfield this season and my reaction to the sacking of Ian Watson. Yes, so we have come to the end of another video. I know it's just me sort of talking and expressing my feelings at camera, but when a head coach is sacked from Super League, it is certainly quite big news. We had a few of them now. Of course, Tony Smith left Hull, Rowan Smith left Leeds, now it's Ian Watson leaves the Huddersfield Giants. So we'll see how they can respond on Saturday against Leigh. If you want to know how they do get on, then check out the Rugby League show here on the Game Day YouTube channel. I really enjoy making them videos. And if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, so let me know how your team is getting on. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.